hello, my loves. Happy Monday. Happy December. And welcome to another edition of the monthly Astro Forecast live here on YouTube in the Astro Room. I am your host and your favorite astrologer, Mel of Divine Feminine Works, where I help people unlock their divinity and discover their magic. So if this is our first time meeting, welcome. And as always, if you are returning, welcome back. So this channel is everything astrology, spirituality, and manifestation. So if those are the things you like, if those are the things you love, if those are the things you want to learn more about, don't forget to hit that subscribe button as well as that notification bell so you'll always be notified when I come out with new content. All right, so this is a slightly different time, right? So typically I usually do the monthly Astro Forecast the last Wednesday of the month, but the energies have been pretty crazy. And I needed some time to really process some things, right? One of the things that I will always tell you guys is that as much as I'm giving you this information and teaching you this information, I am very much living it too. And so when it comes to the different astrological transits, when it comes to the different energies, I feel them too. And just like everyone else, I have to do my shadow work. I have to process things. And so sometimes if timing is a little off, that's probably why. All right. But in any event, we are here to talk about December. All right. So before I get into all of the details, some housekeeping and some announcements. All right. So in terms of housekeeping, if you are joining me here on the live, thank you so much for tuning in. I sincerely appreciate you. Hopefully you find everything that you need in this broadcast. And if you do, definitely hit that like button. And if you haven't already, hit that subscribe button and notification button as well. And if you are joining me on the replay, I appreciate you just as much. Thank you so much for tuning in. I hope that you as well find some value, confirmation, clarity, enlightenment, whatever you're looking for. I hope that you truly find it in this broadcast. And if you do, please hit that like button and subscribe button and notification bell as well. All right. So in terms of announcements, I will be back on here live again tonight at 9:30 for the weekly Astro Forecast. So I won't leave y'all hanging this week. All right. So today, right now, we're doing December. Later on, we will be doing the weekly Astro Forecast. Right. And then on Wednesday, I am coming back again for the yearly Astro Forecast for 2024. You definitely don't want to miss it. It's going to be Wednesday, 9:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Tune in, tap in, because I'm going in on everything you need to know astrologically speaking for 2024. All right. So if you are someone that's interested in your horoscope and you don't know where to look or whatever, consider subscribing to my text service where I will text you your weekly horoscope every Monday. And if you're interested, all you got to do is text the word ZODIAC to the number 855-826-5544. That information will be in the description box below. All right. And if you are someone that is new to astrology and you have no idea what's going on, a lot of jargon, a lot of stuff, a lot of things to remember, and you're just lost. Or if you started studying astrology and you still have no idea what's going on, you're realizing that it's a lot of stuff to memorize. Don't worry, I got you covered. I created this thing called the Astrology Basics Cheat Sheet, which basically gives you the quick and dirty on everything you need to know to start studying astrology. Mainly the 4 pillars of astrology, which are the planets, the houses, the zodiac signs, and the aspects. So it's an 11-page PDF document that gives you a short summary on all of these so you can start studying them and, most importantly, start committing them to memory. Because regardless of what anyone says or doesn't say, astrology is indeed a science, and like any science, requires a good deal of study. So to help you start studying, I created the cheat sheet. If you're interested, the link will be in the description box below. All you have to do is drop your email and you will be good to go. All right. All right. And last announcement, my books are open for the 2024 year ahead readings. So it is a 2024 astrological transit report. It's a written report plus a live consultation with me for 60 minutes over Zoom. All right. Plus I also pull cards to give you an intuitive message. So it basically gives you the full weather report for you for 2024. All right. Spots are limited because I will only be doing these up until probably mid-January. So if you are interested, you will definitely want to check that out and book your session. All right. And the service will be linked to the video and it'll also be linked in the description box below. All right. So definitely secure your spot. Spots are going fast and trust me, you will love it. All right. All right. So December. All right, my loves. So December. This month has a lot of astrological activity. There's a lot going on in the sky this month. Most notably, our favorite Mercury retrograde is coming back around, as retrogrades typically do, right? So, of course, it's not the shit show that most people make it out to be. Mercury retrograde is super helpful, super important for us to redo certain things in our lives. We get a chance to sort of reanalyze things, remember things. All the re's always go with retrograde. And with this Mercury retrograde going down in Capricorn, we have a chance to really examine our structures in life, the ideals, whatever we have based our foundation on. We get to re-examine it and figure out if it still makes sense for us, especially when it comes to things like career, when it comes to many of our ideals, when it comes to work, career, could even be some family things, right? Because Mercury is going retrograde in Capricorn. Capricorn is ruled by Saturn. Saturn has a lot to do with father figures. So perhaps the way that your family is structured may be a topic that you're really examining during this retrograde. All right. But I'll get more into that in a second. But by and large, this is going to be a month where we kind of have the opportunity to dig deep a little bit, especially when it comes to relationships. Like I just mentioned, with Mercury going retrograde, we're going to have the opportunity to really examine our careers, our structures, the structures in our lives, whatever we're basing our foundation on. We kind of get a do-over when it comes to that with Mercury retrograde. We've got Neptune going direct. We've got Jupiter going direct. So things are about to start moving forward, right? Slowly but surely. So we're going to end the year off pretty strong with a lot of cosmic activity. All right. So without further ado, let's get into the highlights and see exactly what we've got going on. All right. So first, we have what I like to call serious business. And this is Mercury going into Capricorn. So Mercury actually went into Capricorn about 3 days ago on the very 1st of December. All right. And so this is just getting our minds in a very serious kind of place. Capricorn is a sign that's all about business. It's all about serious discussions, right? And so this is sort of where our mindset is. And our communication styles are going to be a lot more serious too. This isn't the time for fluff or superficiality. This is about serious matters. Serious matters that we're going to be thinking about and serious matters that we're going to be discussing. All right. So it gives a sort of serious tone to this happy-go-lucky Sagittarius season that we are still in. Right. Then we have what I like to call run that back. And that is Mercury retrograde, and specifically Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So this may be serious discussions from the past may be resurfacing. Past business may be coming back around. And again, we're going to have the opportunity to re-examine our foundations and the authority upon which that we operate. All right. And then finally, we have what I like to call the pleasure principle. All right. And this is Jupiter going direct in Taurus. So Jupiter direct in Taurus is all about pleasure, comfort, and satisfaction. We're going to have an opportunity to understand the practical nature of things. And now that Jupiter is going direct in a sign like Taurus that has a lot to do with work and building a foundation, many of us are going to be able to do that in a very fortunate and abundance focused kind of manner. All right. So this may be a time to get to work, and that work that you're going to be getting to, you're going to start to see the results of that work, the fruits of that labor a lot more quickly now, right? Because Jupiter will now be going direct. All right. So let's get into the general astrology and see exactly what December is looking like. So as you can tell, got a lot going on. So first off, we've got Mercury in Capricorn that happened on the 1st. Then today, as a matter of fact, Venus is entering sultry Scorpio. Then later on this week, Neptune will be going direct in Pisces. And then thereafter, the new moon of the month is going to be in the sign of Sagittarius. Thereafter, Mercury will go retrograde in the sign of Capricorn. Then on the 21st, we officially switch seasons as the sun will move into Capricorn, heralding Capricorn season. Thereafter, Mercury will go back into Sagittarius. And then we've got the full moon of the month, which is going down in the sign of Cancer. Venus will make another move this month, and she will move into the sign of Sagittarius. And then we end the month on a high note with Jupiter going direct in Taurus. All right, so let's get into everything and see exactly what we've got. So first and foremost, we've got Mercury moving into Capricorn, and that happened back on December 1st. And so this is basically what I just talked about, right? This is serious conversations and getting a serious mindset. I love this particular placement for Mercury, especially at this time of the year, because now that we're wrapping things up and we're looking toward 2024, this gets us in a serious state of mind. Like, this is when Mercury is in Capricorn, this is the time when you want to plan. This is the time when you want to make long-term plans, when you want to think about what you want to invest in, right? Whether it's money, whether it's your time. And I want to emphasize time because Capricorn is a sign that's ruled by Saturn. Saturn has everything to do with time. And what you will find, especially if you're someone who likes to track what goes on in your life, what you commit to right now, especially with Mercury in Capricorn, is likely something that's going to last for a long time. Okay. The way that the rest of the astrology is set up, whatever you're committing to, whatever you are committing yourself to now will likely last for a long time. Now, that can be really great, right? Because if you feel like you've made a really informed decision, and if you feel like you have really thought something through and you've really become serious about it and you've committed to it right now, it could really last a long time. However, if you haven't thought something through, and something may look good on the surface or feel good for right now, and you commit yourself to it, you're kind of going to be locking yourself into it for a minute. All right. So it's really important that you take the time to make informed decisions and you take the time to really think things through. And thankfully, Mercury in Capricorn will allow you to do that. Now, one of the other reasons why I really like Mercury in Capricorn is that it's great for business. Capricorn has everything to do with status, with career, and with success. And with Mercury being in Capricorn, right, you're going to have the opportunity to really be focused on business, focused on your career, focused on success and status in life, right? And so when you have a serious mindset about these things, it allows you to plan, especially long term. So I really advise you at this time to really think about what you want 2024 to look like and really put a plan in place, okay? Because it's easier to succeed when you plan. And I feel like planning a lot of times is the hardest part because you have to think about things, you kind of have to strategize. But once you put a plan in place, all you have to do is follow it, right? You don't want to wait until January to do that, especially because Mercury is about to go retrograde. And with Mercury going retrograde, your thoughts may really be focused on the past and you may be dealing with things from the past, okay? So right now, definitely until next week, this is the time to really get serious about the things that you want, whatever you want to achieve, goals you want to set for yourself. Now is the time to put a plan in place. Now, also, Mercury in Capricorn is great for having serious conversations with people. So things that may not necessarily be the easiest things to talk about, you're sort of more motivated to have these conversations when Mercury is in Capricorn. It's almost like the energy is really conducive to having serious, thoughtful, intentional conversations. So if there's anything that you want to say to someone, if there's anything that you want to get off your chest, if there's anything that you feel like you need to explain to someone, now would be the time to do that, okay? What I also love about Mercury in Capricorn is that it's great for mentor and mentee relationships. Because Capricorn has a lot to do with time, with age, you'll find that if you're looking for a mentor, if you're looking to advise people or anything like that, Mercury in Capricorn is great for that. So for some, this may be a great time to teach. This may be a great time to really seek mentorship, get advice, get professional advice, right? So if those are the things you're looking for, especially as you're starting to make plans for 2024, now would be the time to do that. Especially you want to do that before Mercury goes retrograde next week. All right. So next up, we've got Venus in Scorpio, and that's actually happening today. All right. So Venus spent a little time in her home sign of Libra. And during that time, it's like relationships were really a thing, right? Libra's the relationship sign. Venus is about relationships. It's about love. So many of us may have been dealing with relationship issues while Venus was in Libra. The interesting thing about this particular Venus transit through Libra is that it was also conjunct the South Node. So many of us may have been experiencing relationship endings, or, many of us may have been confronted with our karmic relationship patterns. Okay. And so now that Venus has finished her transit through Libra, now she's going to make her way into Scorpio. And so you are going to be really getting to the heart of the matter when it comes to relationships. Venus in Scorpio is about the truth. Venus in Scorpio is about seeing relationships for what they really are, not the superficial Libra kind of energy. Because when Venus is in Libra, Venus is very about appearances. Venus is very about, what other people think. Venus is all about a great aesthetic for Instagram. Now, Venus in Scorpio is going to show you what you really signed up for. Venus in Scorpio is going to show you the real of your relationships, right? For better or for worse. Venus in Scorpio is also about wanting to merge with people. Okay. Venus in Scorpio is about body and soul contracts. This is about really possessing people sometimes, right? That can be the ugly side, or the sort of the negative side of Venus in Scorpio. But Venus in Scorpio, I call it the soul snatcher, because Venus in Scorpio wants all of you. Venus in Scorpio wants your good, your bad, your ugly. Like Venus in Scorpio is that kind of placement that will have a real relationship. And so again, this may be something that many of us are being confronted with during this Venus in Scorpio transit. It's also very passionate energy. It's very desirous, very passionate, very soul. Venus in Scorpio is hard to put into words because it's so deep, but it's really like the merging of souls in relationships, right? For better or for worse. Venus in Scorpio is not about superficiality, whereas Venus in Libra was. Venus in Scorpio is like, nah, like, again, the realness of your relationships are going to be coming to the forefront, again, for better or for worse. Now, apart from relationships, Venus has a lot to do with money. And Venus in Scorpio has a lot to do with resources, but perhaps other people's resources. So whether this is your spouse, whether this is a loan, whether this is your mortgage, right? Anything having to do with other people's money may also come into focus during this Venus transit, all right? That also includes things like debt and stuff like that. So if you find that an unexpected bill comes your way, or maybe there's a debt issue that needs to be repaid or addressed right now, Venus in Scorpio is going to bring that up to the forefront. Now, it also depends on where this is going down in your chart. If you've got Scorpio as your 8th house, most definitely, right? But anywhere else, like let's say you've got Scorpio as your 4th house, this could be something having to do with your mortgage, or maybe past rent that was due, right? Take it as it resonates, but this could be debt coming up to the surface as well. All right. But by and large, the best way to use the energy of Venus in Scorpio is to really get to the truth of either your relationships or your financial situation. This is the time to take a good, hard look at them. Venus in Scorpio doesn't want superficiality, doesn't want shit that looks good on the gram or looks good in the eyes of other people. Venus in Scorpio is all about getting to the heart of things. And that's what many of us will be doing over the next 3 weeks while Venus is in Scorpio. All right. Thereafter, on December 6th, we have Neptune going direct in Pisces. So recently we had Saturn, which is also in Pisces, going direct. Now we've got Neptune going direct as well. When Neptune is direct and it is in its home sign of Pisces, this is all about dreams, fantasies, and imagination. Now, it's great for creativity. So if you are a creative person and you found that the last couple of months have been difficult, or maybe you've been feeling stagnant in your creative abilities, that's probably because Neptune has been retrograde in Pisces. But now that Neptune is going direct, you may find that your creative juices start flowing again and you're really able to get in your creative bag. For others, you may find that when Neptune was retrograde in Pisces, we were able to see life for what it really is and the harshness of it. It's like we kind of took those rose colored glasses off and we saw sort of the ugly side of life, and things weren't as fantastical and idyllic as you may have liked them to be. But now that Neptune is going direct, you can put those rose colored glasses back on and you can sort of believe in a higher cause. You can believe that life will get better. You can be a little more optimistic. The best use of Neptune direct in Pisces is using your imagination. Now, we all know the universal laws, the first law of mentalism. Everything is thoughts. Thoughts become things, right? Everything is mental. Use the powers of your imagination to manifest the things that you want. And that's going to be a lot easier now that Neptune is going direct in Pisces. So this is the time to dream. It's the time to daydream. It's the time to really imagine what you want your life to look like. And the best part is, because Saturn is also in Pisces and it is direct in Pisces, this is like imagining and then having it take form, having it come to fruition, right? Whatever you're imagining is literally going to be cemented. It's going to be crystallized into physical form. So be careful what you imagine. Use your powers of imagination constructively. Don't imagine the worst, because the worst is what is going to crystallize and take form. Right? Now, the problem with Neptune direct in Pisces is that it can be a little too fantastical, a little very out there, right? But thankfully, because again, Saturn is also in Pisces, I think that many of us will be fantastical, but also be a little realistic. It's like we've got one foot, it's like we've got our hand to the sky and our feet on the ground, right? We can definitely see the bigger picture, but we also have that little bit of realism that Saturn is going to give us as well. So again, it's a great time to imagine. And again, with Mercury in Capricorn, take the time to plan. Use the power of Neptune in Pisces, Neptune direct in Pisces, I should say, to use your imagination, right? Use your imagination and then put a plan together. Set up what you want. Set up your 2024. Set up your life for what you want it to look like next year. And you will start to see it take shape. You'll start to see it solidify and crystallize in physical form. Okay. This is a wonderful time to be alive. Seriously. This is the time when dreams literally can come true. But you really have to be intentional. You have to be focused, and you have to use your imagination to really envision what you want your life to be like, because it will unfold as you want it to. You are that powerful. Okay. So next up, on the 12th, we've got the new moon of the month, which is the new moon in Sagittarius. Okay. So I'm going to do a dedicated video on this, so I'm not going to go into it in depth right now. However, Sagittarius energy is all about expansion, and it's all about growth. It's all about broadening your horizons, expanding your mind, seeing the bigger picture. So at the time of the new moon, right? New moons are all about planting new seeds and setting new intentions. This is the time when you're going to want to set intentions for the bigger picture. What do you want your bigger picture to look like? Now, you're going to want to check out your natal chart and see what house Sagittarius is in your natal chart. This will let you know sort of what topic or what area of life you can dream big about and start something new, go on a new adventure. What I love about Sagittarius, especially when the moon is in Sagittarius, is that we feel very hopeful and we feel very optimistic. It's like we see the bigger picture and we're like, okay, this could actually happen. Like, I feel like this can actually happen for me. And so this is when, again, you're going to want to plant those seeds and set those intentions. All right. Now, the numerology, I'm going to go into this in a dedicated video, but the numerology for this moon is number 2, which is all about partnership, right? It's all about partnership. It's all about choices also, right? I feel like many of us are going to have Sagittarius energy is very expansive, right? It could be a lot. And so many of us may feel like, well, I have a lot of these big dreams. I have a lot of these things that I want to accomplish. Which one, right? So I feel like the presence of the number 2, the numerology of the number 2, as it is associated with this new moon in Sagittarius, is going to require a choice, right? The one thing about Sagittarius energy is it's expansive, right? However, we also have come to realize that if you scatter your energy, if it's all over the place, you never really get anything done. You get some of this done, some of that done, but nothing done to completion. So there's going to be this desire to want to expand in this big picture and plant many seeds. But you're going to have to make a choice, right? You're going to have to focus your energy on maybe one or two things and put your energy and effort into that. So inherent in this new moon in Sagittarius is going to be the concept of choice and figuring out which one to pursue, what dream to pursue, what seeds to plant, what adventure you want to go on. You may have 6 different trips that you want to take, but clearly many of us, let me not limit you. However, maybe you're not able to take 6 different trips in the coming year. Maybe it's just one trip that you're going to be able to take. So where's it going to be? Where are you going to go? You're going to have to rein it in and figure out exactly what to focus on. And that's going to be the energy of that particular new moon. All right. So next up, we've got Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. So again, Mercury in Capricorn, which we are currently in, is all about serious business, serious conversation, serious mindset. I'm pretty sure that you get the gist of that, right? And then when Mercury goes retrograde in Capricorn, it may be conversations from the past. It may be news from the past. It may be serious conversations that maybe you didn't have in the past that now you have the opportunity to do so, right? Everything about Capricorn is about structure and it's about authority. Now, with this serious mindset that Mercury in Capricorn brings us, when Mercury is retrograde in Capricorn, you're going to be thinking in a very serious kind of way, to whom do you give your authority, right? Capricorn energy is very much the boss, right? Mercury in Capricorn is going to have you thinking, well, who is the boss of me? Who's been bossing me around? Who have I been reporting to? Does that still make sense? Or am I my own boss, right? This may literally have to do with work. Perhaps you're re-examining everything that's been going on at your job, or maybe everything that's been transpiring in your career, right? You're taking a retrospective look at these things and figuring out, does this still make sense for me? Is this career going in the direction that I want to go? And if it's not, maybe it's time to go in a different direction when Mercury goes direct. Or maybe it's time to tweak some things, right? Maybe there's some work that you've left undone. Mercury in Capricorn, Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is going to have you going back and handling those tasks and those chores that maybe you didn't want to do, but now you're realizing that you have to do. And you're realizing that you have to do it because it's going to set you up for the future, right? A lot of times the things that we want to do aren't necessarily sexy. They're not fun, but they're designed to set us up to build the foundation for the future, right? It's like you do your homework and then you get to play. For some of us, we skipped our homework. We didn't get to do our homework. And the teacher's like, you got to come back and you got to finish this. You got to finish this exam. You got to finish this paper. You got to finish this essay. For some, this may be literal, especially if you're still in school. But certain things that we've neglected that will set us up for the future, Mercury retrograde is going to give us the opportunity to do that. And I feel like that's a really good thing, right? Because you want a successful future. You want to be successful. You want to achieve the things that you want to achieve. That requires work. And a lot of times we skip steps or we don't feel like doing it or whatever. Thankfully, Mercury retrograde allows you to go back and redo that stuff, right? And again, conversations from the past, maybe you left someone lingering. Maybe there's a conversation with someone like a friend or maybe your partner or maybe even an ex, right? That you need to tie up those loose ends. You need to have those conversations. Like Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, like, you know how people talk about, oh, I never got closure in this relationship. Like this is the transit where you finally get closure. And it may not be the closure that you want, but it may be the closure that you need. This is about tying up loose ends, all right? Whether in conversation, even in your mind, right? Perhaps there are certain ideas that you've had floating around in your mind. I feel like Mercury retrograde in Capricorn is going to have you revisit those and be like, all right, this works, this doesn't. I can tweak this. I can fix this over here. Like it's getting your mind right in a very serious and practical kind of way. So don't be surprised if certain difficult conversations If you start to see or you start to feel the need to have certain difficult conversations, or maybe people are starting to have these conversations with you, or maybe you're just taking a realistic and sobering look at the work that you did in the past, or maybe the work that you didn't do, or things that you've omitted, right? Mercury retrograde is not the shit show that you think it is. It's really just a chance for a do-over. With Mercury retrograde in Capricorn, it's a do-over in a very serious kind of way. All right. All right. Then next up, we've got the sun moving into Capricorn, and this is going to be on December 21st, and that will herald in Capricorn season. So we're already in this serious mindset, right? With Mercury in Capricorn and Mercury retrograde in Capricorn. Now the sun's going to be in Capricorn. So everything Capricorn-ish is going to be highlighted, it's going to be emphasized. So career, success, ambition, right? And of course, it all depends on where Capricorn is in your chart. Wherever Capricorn is in your chart, with the sun moving through that house, it's going to energize everything having to do with that house. So if you've got Capricorn as your fourth house, home and family matters are going to be highlighted. If you got Capricorn as your 11th house, friendships and associations are going to be highlighted, right? Anywhere Capricorn is in your chart is going to be emphasized, but in a very serious and realistic sort of way. And it's not just to be a Debbie Downer, right? A lot of times Capricorn energy can be considered negative or sobering or Debbie Downer kind of energy. But it's really, I'm sorry, I don't know if you can hear my dog, but she is wilding out right now. She's like, I think she saw a squirrel or something. It's to get you structured, right? It's to get you structured. Life is not always roses and rainbows. A lot of times it requires work. It requires serious work. And Capricorn, especially the sun in Capricorn, will definitely get you in that mode, of work, of diligent work, of structuring yourself and structuring your life. All right. So use it for that, especially right now. Don't wait until January when it's harder. Do it now. Do your work now. Do your homework, and then you get to play. All right. So again, look at where Capricorn is in your natal chart. Once the sun moves into Capricorn, this is the area of life that's going to be emphasized for you. All right. The next up, we've got Mercury taking a step back into Sagittarius. Now, I love this because Mercury is currently in Capricorn, right? We're thinking about things, right, in a very serious sort of way. Then when Mercury goes back into Sagittarius, we're going to be hopeful about the things that we're thinking about. The seriousness of Mercury in Capricorn is going to give way to optimism and feeling hopeful once Mercury goes into Sagittarius. This also may clue you in as to what kind of conversations you'll be having, what kind of paperwork you'll have to fill out, all of that kind of stuff, right? Mercury in Sagittarius is not only seeing the bigger picture, but it's also talking to people with different ideas, different ideologies than yours, perhaps people with different political views. It's conversations that broaden your horizons and expand your mind. So now that Mercury in Capricorn is like, all right, this is what we're going to do. This is what we're going to focus on. This is our plan. Then once Mercury goes into Sagittarius, now you're going to see the bigger picture. Okay, I have to do this work, but I'm doing this work because this is the goal that I want to achieve. And maybe you have conversations with different people that allow you to see different perspectives of the things that you're focusing on. This is the best way to use the energy. Now, it's not to say that this is exactly how this is going to unfold in your particular life, right? But it is to say that this is how you can use the energy, because this is the general energy that's available to all of us right now, okay? So it's really important that you allow yourself to be hopeful about the future, that you think of the bigger picture, while at the same time structuring yourself and getting serious about what it is that you want to achieve in the future, okay? All right. The next up, we've got the full moon in Cancer, and that's the full moon of the month, and that's going down on December 26th. So the full moon tends to highlight imbalances, right? It's when the sun and the moon are opposite. And so when it comes to a sign like Saturn, when it comes to a sign like Cancer, number one, you're going to want to look at your natal chart and see what house Cancer is. This is where you're going to experience illumination. Cancer is also a very sensitive sign. And so this full moon may be extremely emotional. It may have sort of the flavor of mommy issues with women, issues with respect to nurturing, to feeling loved, feeling protected. All of your basic emotional needs may be highlighted at that time because that's the essence of Cancer energy. And the numerology for the new moon, the full moon in Cancer, rather, is the number 4. And 4 has everything to do with stability. So this may be a full moon that highlights all of your family drama. It may highlight your relationship with your parents. It may highlight your lineage. It can get kind of messy. I will say that I feel like this full moon in Cancer is going to be a messy moon because everything having to do with your early childhood development, your relationship with your parents, your basic emotional needs like food, love, shelter, acceptance, like those are going to be illuminated for better or for worse. And so understanding what is being illuminated and understanding not only what your basic needs, basic emotional needs are, but whether those basic emotional needs have been met are probably going to be the objectives of that full moon in Cancer. Okay. Also the structure upon which you were raised, right? I just said before about like your early childhood environment. I feel like that's going to be highlighted because it's going to show you what you've relied on to move throughout life, right? Your early childhood really sets you up for how you move in life. And I feel like that's going to be highlighted at this full moon in Cancer. So it might be a very emotional one. It might be a very sensitive one, right? But whatever becomes illuminated is ultimately to teach us and to show us where things in our lives are imbalanced and perhaps what we need to fix, what we need to do to tip the scales into balance, all right? So again, it might be pretty emotional, but ultimately necessary for your enlightenment, right? The next up, we've got Venus moving into Sagittarius, and that's going down on December 29th. So after Venus goes through the underworld and goes through all of that intense passion in Scorpio, Venus will make her way into Sagittarius, where she's looking toward the future, where she is hopeful, optimistic, where she wants to travel, and where she wants to experience different cultures and different things. All right. Anytime you have any planets in Sagittarius, it's all about things that are foreign, things that are different, things that make you see life in a different way. It's also wisdom gained through experience. And so Venus in Sagittarius has a lot to do with perhaps talking to people, relating to people who are different, who have different viewpoints. It may highlight long distance relationships, right? Whether they're at a distance from you physically, or maybe even people who are emotionally at a distance from you. Those kind of relationships may be highlighted with Venus in Sagittarius. Venus in Sagittarius may spark your desire to travel, to experience different things. Perhaps, Sagittarius also has a lot to do with like higher education. And so perhaps, especially with Venus having to do with money, perhaps finding money for school, finding money for a graduate program. Those are the kind of sort of mundane examples of this particular transit. But nonetheless, that could definitely be how this transit works out for you. However, I will say that I feel like when Venus is in Sagittarius, we like to experience different things. We like to feel good about different things, different people. We find pleasure in learning new things, learning about new cultures, tasting different foods, things of that nature. And again, it's also great for I also like Sagittarius energy for long-term planning, right? And with Venus in Sagittarius, this may be relationship planning, right? This is your ideals with respect to your relationships. So those may be highlighted when Venus goes into Sagittarius. All right. And then finally, we close out the month and the year with Jupiter going direct in Taurus happening on December 30th. So Jupiter in Taurus loves comfort, loves luxury, loves to feel good, right? Jupiter in Taurus is definitely a feel good kind of transit. Now, with Jupiter having been retrograde in Taurus, I feel like Since Taurus is a sign that has a lot to do with work and laying the foundation, you may have found that some of the work that you've been doing, you feel like you haven't been moving forward with it, right? Because Jupiter retrograde in Taurus really had you directing your energy inward. So whereas, you're putting out work and you're trying to see the fruits of your labor, Jupiter retrograde in Taurus really had you examining your inner abundance, right? Or maybe what you need subconsciously, right? Maybe taking an introspective look at yourself in terms of what you are working toward. What foundation are you building, right? Jupiter retrograde really had you looking at your inner abundance, your inner world, your inner values. What do you really value? Again, very introspective while Jupiter is retrograde. But now that Jupiter is going direct, now we're going to start to see the fruits of our labor. Now we're going to feel like we can actually move forward with the work. Now that we've taken a look and determined what our values are, we use that as our compass when we are doing our work and when we are moving forward. And Jupiter is going to have us happily plowing forward with these newfound or newly discovered values that we've been reflecting on over the last couple of months. Jupiter in Taurus is also pretty practical, right? Pretty practical, just pretty practical, right? So this is about actually getting to work, okay? And that's how we attract our abundance. We attract our abundance by practical work, right? It's all about, you can't expect to get rewards for work that you didn't do. However, with Jupiter in Taurus now direct, that work that you're doing, it is actually going to pay off and you're going to start to see it do so. Our basic needs have to be met before other goals are pursued. Because Taurus is the first earth sign, it's like things like food, shelter, all of that stuff. Those things need to be met before you can pursue anything else. So if you've had issues with those, right, while Jupiter has been retrograde, you'll find that now things are going to start to move forward. Taurus has a lot to do with our self-esteem, our self-worth, our self-image even. And so while Jupiter was retrograde, we were really taking an introspective look at those things. What is the foundation of our self-esteem and our self-worth? Now that we've examined that, right, with Jupiter retrograde, now that Jupiter is going direct, it's like we can take this newfound self-image, this reinforced self-worth, and we can take it and move forward with it, right? And this is where our abundance lies, okay? Taurus being a sign of finances, this Jupiter in Taurus transit may have a lot to do with money. Money may have been slow going while Jupiter was retrograde, right? Jupiter is the planet of abundance. And with retrograde, things were either delayed, right? Money was delayed, stagnant even. But now that Jupiter is going direct, money is going to start to flow again. You're going to start to feel like things are moving forward. Maybe money that you were owed is going to come back to you. Maybe your finances are going to start getting back on track, right? Retrograde always slows things down, but it slows things down so we can examine them and then be intentional about these things when that planet actually goes direct. And so now that we've had a chance to examine our bottom line and our finances, now that Jupiter is going direct, we can definitely move forward with the information that we've gained. All right. So it's going to be a time of work, but work that will definitely pay off. And I love this because by the time we get into January, most of the planets will be direct. And so whereas the last couple of months have felt like stop and go, you're taking 2 steps forward and 1 step back, we're getting to a point where it's going to be all systems go and it's going to be full steam ahead. All right. So keep, stay the course, keep doing what you're doing, and you will start to see these things start to pay off, especially as we go into the new year. All right. So that's pretty much the astrology. So now let's get into some messages from Spirit and see what we've got for everyone for the month. All right. So I do these messages by sign, but it doesn't matter. Whatever message is for you, if it resonates, it resonates. It could be your sun, your moon, your rising, your Venus, your north node. If the message is for you, it is for you. All right. So these are messages. These are monthly messages for all of the signs. All right. So first up, as always, we start with Aries. So let's see what we've got for Aries for December. Aries, I love this for you. We've got the Magician. So you are moving and shaking. You are making things happen. You're realizing that you've got all the tools that you need. Okay. So it's really important that you direct your energy. And you guys are pretty good at this, right? Whereas you may have a lot of things that you want to achieve, a lot of things that you want to manifest, I feel like you guys are very good at pinpointing exactly what it is that you want. So you're definitely going to want to tap into your heart's truest desire and put your full force and energy behind it, and you will find that it will indeed come to fruition. Okay. Now, I'm also getting this feeling of extreme force. Okay. And I feel like Spirit wants to remind you that you don't have to force things. While you do have to put effort into things, don't try to force a square peg in a round hole. All right. It's only going to break. Try to realize that when things are in alignment, they flow effortlessly. There's no force. You don't have to fight. You don't have to push. You don't have to struggle, right? Allow things to align. Understand that this is a co-creation process. And of course, there's effort that you need to exert yourself, but also allow Spirit in to help you so that things move effortlessly rather than, again, trying to force a square peg into a round hole, right? What is for you will be effortless. It will not require you to fight, to struggle, to manipulate. You do have to manipulate the energy a little bit, but manipulating people and doing all that, that's not it. Allow Spirit in to help you in this creation process, and things will go a lot more smoothly than if you were just to handle it on your own. Okay. All right. Next up, we've got Taurus. Let's see what we've got for Taurus. Okay, Taurus, I like this for you. You got the Ace of Cups. Renewed emotions. For some of you, there's been a cleansing, and I feel like your cup, I almost want to say your cup was tipped over so that it could be cleaned. Especially with this new Mars cycle that we just started. And with Venus having gone through Libra, along with the South Node, some of you may have experienced endings. Some of you may have experienced situations where your cup had to be turned upside down to be cleaned. However, now your cup is right side up. So now you are able to receive. So don't allow yourself to become bitter at what you may have lost or what may have not worked out, because you need to be in a receptive mode, because there is new water, there's new emotions, there's new love, there's new everything that the water element embodies is coming in for you. So be receptive. Don't close yourself off. Don't close off your heart. Don't be bitter. Allow what is trying to find you, because there is love trying to find you. There's peace. You see this dove at the top? There is peace trying to find you. So just be receptive and open to it. All right. Next up, we've got Gemini. Let's see what we've got for Gemini for December. All right, Gemini. You've got the Two of Swords. You are at a stalemate. There's a decision that has to be made, and you're kind of weighing your options. And you're like, I'm really not sure. I really think that you're in your head a little too much with this. You notice how she's in front of this ocean. She is not paying attention to her emotions at all. She's really just in her head, this or that, this or that. And I feel like you're really racking your brain. And I don't necessarily feel like December is going to be a month where you actually come to a decision. I feel like December is the month where you realize that there's a choice that has to be made. And they're very two separate choices. It's one or the other. It's not necessarily both. And picking one will require, how do I say this? If you pick one, you can't get the other, right? So you're going to satisfy one person and disappoint someone else, or vice versa. But you're realizing this month that a choice needs to be made. I don't think you're going to make the choice this month, but I feel like you're going to realize that a choice needs to be made. So especially with Mercury, your ruling planet in Capricorn, this is going to be a month that's got a lot of serious, inner discussions. You may be having a lot of serious discussions with people, and you're realizing that, listen, there's something on this side, there's something on that side, and I've got to pick one. So this may not be the best feel good month for you. It may be a month that's really requiring you to really examine some difficult things. However, I feel like it's really I feel like for a while you may have been teetering the fence, and I feel like you've been like, oh, well, I've got this and I've got this. And I feel like December is going to be the month where you're like, no, I'm realizing that I have to make a choice now. And you're going to get serious about making this choice. So I wish you a lot of luck this month. And Spirit is like, if there are going to be times where you need to quiet your mind. So definitely meditate. Definitely get out in nature. It's going to make this decision-making process feel a lot smoother because I feel like you're going to be in your head a lot this month. Okay. All right. That was Gemini. Next up, we've got Cancer. All right, Cancer. Ooh, Cancer. You've got the 9 of Wands. I hear you are sick and tired of being sick and tired. Like you are, first of all, you're very defensive right now. I feel like December is going to be a month where you are very defensive and you're kind of just like, you know what? I'm over this. I don't want to do this anymore. I feel like you got to put up a fight. And I get the sense that this is a month where I'm hearing like final showdown. I'm hearing like battle royale. Like you guys are really feeling like you got to put in a fight this month. But you're tired. You're battle weary. You feel like you've been fighting. You don't want to fight anymore, right? But you got to push a little further. There's a desire. There's a goal that you are very much working toward. And you got to push a little bit more. Okay. I know you're tired. I know you're worn out. But you're almost there. You're almost at the end. All right. And so anything that is not in alignment with this desire may feel like resistance. And that's where you're feeling like you got to fight, right? And not physically fight, but you feel like, oh, I've got to put in more effort. Oh, I got to, right? Resistance is just information that's letting you know what's not in alignment. So take it as such and keep it moving. But you're almost at the finish line. You just got to put up a little bit more of a fight. All right. All right. That's Cancer. Now we are up to Leo. Let's see what we got for Leo for December. Oof. Let us see. All right, Leo. We've got the 6 of Swords. Leo, you are over and done with something. You've made up your mind about something and you're moving forward. For some, I'm hearing like you are not giving into the drama anymore. I feel like you are just like, you know what? I'm leaving this alone. I'm not dealing with this anymore. You're moving to a much better place in your mind. For some of you, you're having a conversation, a serious conversation with someone about physically moving. Maybe you're moving at a distance, perhaps with a partner or with your family, and you have to break it to your friends, you have to break it to your family or whoever. But there's movement here. There's movement in your mind. You're over it. Even if you're moving from a physical spot, I feel like wherever you've been, you're over it. You've outgrown it. There's this element of expansion that I'm seeing for you, and you're moving to a better place. You're moving in alignment with whatever goal it is that you have, whatever desire it is that you have, and you're adopting a more positive mindset, a more expansive mindset. So I see that December has you moving, okay? But I feel like not only do you feel good about it, you feel like you're in alignment with it. Everything is sort of lining up, and you feel like you're leaving the drama behind. There's something that you're leaving behind that you are very happy to be leaving in the past and leaving behind. Just make sure that when Mercury retrograde comes around that you don't re-entertain it, that you don't give it a second thought. I feel like you've made a final decision and it's time to move forward. Okay, that was Leo. Next up, we've got Virgo. Let's see what we got for Virgo for December. All right, Virgo, we've got the 3 of Swords. So December may be a somewhat difficult month. It may be a month where I'm hearing like reliving things from the past, reliving past heartbreaks, difficult conversations that may be heartbreaking. Okay, whether you are the giver of these conversations or on the receiving end, but difficult conversations that may not feel so good, right? I want to pull another card for you because I'm kind of interested to see what exactly this is talking about. And again, this is Virgo. Okay, we've got the Four of Wands. So this may be with a partner. This definitely feels like cheating. Perhaps you're learning that your partner has cheated, or your partner learns that you've cheated. It's definitely difficult conversations around house, home, and heart. Okay. Now, someone may be left feeling heartbroken. Maybe this is your discussion of divorce. Maybe this is your discussion of separation, right? Tough conversations that need to be had. However, they're necessary. They're necessary because I'm getting the sense that this is not as happy as it appears to be. I want you to look closely at this card. You see these two people here, they're together. They're like, they've got their flowers up. This signifies, togetherness, celebration, relationship, home, happy home, all that good stuff, right? But I get the sense that this is the ideal, but not the reality. I think the reality looks more like this, and it's time to address this, right? And while this may be difficult and it may be a not so good way to end the year, it allows you to clear out all of this energy so that you can really have this, whether it's with the same person or someone else, okay? So while this doesn't feel good, doesn't look good, it's necessary so you can ultimately have this, all right? So I wish you luck. I send you love because it may be a tough month, but again, necessary conversations, all right? Next up, we've got Libra. Okay, Libra. You interrupted my train of thought with this. Libra, it's almost like you're not even trying to hear what I have to say, because you're just like, nope, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. It's not going to work. Like, your negative self chatter is really loud right now. Perhaps it's keeping you up at night. Perhaps it is like, it's this restless energy I'm getting from you. And it's like, you're not even really trying to hear what people have to say to you. You're kind of just already assuming the worst, already assuming that things are not going to go the way that you plan, already stressed out and anxious about it. You need to calm down. I also want to pull another card for you because, like, you came out screaming like, oh, no, it's not going to work. It's not going to work. Let me see what else you have here, because y'all are high strung too. Very high strung energy with you, Libra. All right. I like this. The Star. You are going to be shown a situation that's going to reinstill hope within you. There is a cleansing that needs to happen. For some of you, y'all need to have a really good cry. Really good cry. I'm talking about ugly, snot running down your face kind of cry, because you need to release a lot of this anxious energy. And you will. This is a time of cleansing. It's a time of hope. Once you get rid of that anxious energy, you're going to feel hopeful again. You're going to feel hopeful. Allow your emotions to flow. Some of you have bottled up your emotions too much. You've been too much in your head. And now you're in this place where you can't hear or see anything clearly because you are just all up in your head in this negative self chatter. All right. Allow the emotions to flow. And I feel like it will restore your hope. It will restore your optimism. And I feel like you'll be able to see things a lot clearer. Okay. Have yourself a good cry. All right. That was Libra. Now we've got Scorpio. Let's see what we've got for Scorpio for December. Scorpio, you've got the same energy as Cancer. You guys are tired of fighting too. Like, you guys are feeling down and out. But the thing is, I feel like Cancer kind of felt like down and out. You guys feel a lot stronger. I feel like you are ready to put up a fight. You've been fighting for a minute. You're ready to put up a fight. You have your eyes on the prize and you are ready to do whatever needs to be done by any means necessary to get there. It's like, yeah, you may be tired, torn, tattered. I feel like you are tying up your headscarf and you're putting your wand in your hand and you like, all right, whoever I've got to take on, I'm going to take them on. Whatever comes my way, I'm going to like bulldoze through it, right? A lot of you are feeling this conviction about something and you're not ready to give up easily, okay? You just want to temper that energy, okay? You don't have to necessarily bulldoze everything. You may be met with resistance. And I feel like for you, the resistance is more so to build up your resolve. It's almost like, how badly do you really want this thing? I feel like that's what the resistance is going to show you. And if you truly are, like, I guess, obsessed with this thing, then you will push past it. You will find the resolve to push past it, right? But I feel like you guys are feeling tired, but convicted and strong about something. So keep doing what you're doing. Okay. Next up, we've got Sagittarius. Let's see what we've got for Sagittarius for December. All right, Sag. We've got the Hermit. So for some of you, very small amounts of you, I feel like there is a Virgo that is top of mind. Very small amount of you, but more so, I feel like December has you guys being very reclusive, being very introspective. For some of you, I feel like it is still your season, right? So if you're a December Sag, happy birthday. But you're not really turning up like you might normally turn up. I feel like it might be a situation where you're more quiet, you're more reserved. Like, I feel like you're taking this time to really think about things seriously because it's not your ruling planet, but you do have Mercury going retrograde into your sign later this month. And so I feel like you're going to be you're going to be looking introspectively. And I think that you're going to be trying to make sense of perhaps your thoughts, or maybe even on a broader scale, your life. All right. But there's this reclusive energy, this quieter energy. I feel like some of you may be working on something that's requiring you to really take a look at the details, and it has you feeling out of sorts because you guys are very much big picture. Meanwhile, the Hermit is really looking at the finer details, going through things with a fine-tooth comb. For some of you, this may be past business, and now it's time for you to really take a granular look at things, and it has you not feeling like yourself. Like, you really have to really get into the details, really sit down, right? Sit down, sit still, and really look at things with a magnifying glass. Okay. So for some, this may be doing something painstakingly. This may be perfecting something, perfecting your craft or something like that. But I feel like December has you being a lot more quiet, a lot more reclusive, and a lot more detail oriented. Okay. Next up, we've got Capricorn. So let's see what we got for Capricorn for December. And for all of my December Capricorns, happy birthday. All right, let's see. Capricorn, we've got the Knight of Pentacles. Slow and steady wins the race. Keep working. Keep putting one foot in front of the other. There's perhaps a financial goal that you're working toward that's going to require some more work. Okay, it's going to require some more work. Patience is key right now. But just keep doing what you're doing. I feel like you're on the right track. I feel like you've got all your ducks in a row. You just got to put one foot in front of the other and pick each one up individually. Okay, so not the sexiest message, especially if it's your birthday month, but I feel like it's the message that you need to hear. You guys are serious by nature, so I don't have to say that you're taking things seriously because you typically tend to take things seriously. But I do think that this is the month where you're really putting in some work. So whether you are learning something, whether you're applying some lessons that you learned, or whether you're literally just putting in more work, maybe you're putting in more hours, maybe you're taking on a second job, I feel like there's a financial goal that you're trying to reach, and you're doing just that. You're doing the work to reach that. So just keep doing what you're doing. Okay. Next up, we've got Aquarius. Let's see what we have for Aquarius for December. Okay, Aquarius. We've got the Lovers. So I'm immediately hearing choice. Maybe you have to choose between two lovers, or maybe there's a choice that you need to make in a romantic situation. I do get this is romance, right? Perhaps there is someone you have your eye on. You're like, should I pursue this person or not? Or maybe someone's pursuing you and you're like, should I even, fuck with this person or not? Right. But I feel like there is a choice that needs to be made. I feel like some of you are at a very important impasse in life. It's almost like you've reached a fork in the road and you've got to decide, especially as it relates to relationships, which way are you going to go? Which way are you going to go? And because it's a major arcana, it's like spirit is trying to move you in a particular direction, right? But ultimately, we have free will. So the choice is ultimately yours. But I feel like December is a month of choices and examining your relationships and how you relate to people. For some, it's not just romantic relationships. I feel like it's relationships in general. But how are you going to relate to people? What do you want your relationships to be like? I feel like December is going to ask those questions of you, and it's going to be up to you to decide. But either way, I feel like December is a month where there's important choices to be made. Okay. And last but certainly not least, we've got Pisces. Let's see what we've got for Pisces for December. Pisces, we've got the Two of Cups. You guys have relationships that are emphasized also. But it's all about give and take. Pisces, you guys tend to be very service oriented. Some of you are known to like love bomb your partners, right? But I feel like December is like, you really have to ask yourself, is your partner as of service to you as you are to them? There's something about reciprocity with these relationships that are going to come into focus. Are your relationships equitable? And I feel like, especially with Mercury in Capricorn, I feel like you're going to be taking a serious look at this. Like, are you really getting what you're putting out there? And I feel like for some of you, this mental exercise, thinking about your relationships, is going to be very sobering. Perhaps you're realizing that your relationships are not equitable and what you're giving out is not being returned. Now it's time for you to figure out what you're going to do moving forward. But I feel like December has a focus on reciprocity in relationships. It could be any relationship, right? Could be friendship, could be family, could be romantic, right? But are they equitable? Are you getting what you're putting out there? Is your partner reciprocating your efforts? And I feel like you're going to come to a very realistic and very sobering answer to those questions. All right. So December is definitely going to put a focus on your relationships. All right, my loves. So that concludes this edition of the monthly Astro Forecast. I sincerely hope that you were able to get at least one important piece of information that you could use going forward into December. For information on my products and services, those are all included in the description box below. 2024 readings, they are linked to this video. Order now. Time slots are very limited. All right. Thank you so much for tuning in. Have an amazing December, and I will see you guys later on for the weekly Astro Forecast. All right, my loves. Take care.